Okay, well, so good evening, everybody. This is Craig Blanchette, and this is our Habits of Health chapter review. It is chapter 4 tonight out of Dr. A's Habits of Health. The title of the chapter is Health is All About Choice. We're going to be discussing the difference between fundamental, primary, and secondary choices, along with what we call current reality. And that is an idea that Dr. A explains as structural tension. And so I want to start off with welcoming anybody that's new that hasn't been here before. So welcome. And we do this every week. We started in January, and we do this every year. We start the Habits of Health book. And so we've been going, it's 26 weeks that it takes us to get through the Habits of Health, one chapter at a time. And so the nice thing about this is this year we started at 26 and we worked our way all the way to chapter 4. We got 3 more weeks and we'll be done. But you can go and listen to the previous recordings of the Habits of Health. And I know I talk with Steph quite a bit, and she says, really likes the book comes alive when we discuss it in this form, and it's whatever works for you. I like discussing things rather than just simply reading them, and in the end it's about doing it, learning it, and then doing it. That's what makes the difference. So if you want, you can actually go back and go to my Vimeo channel. It's vimeo.com/Coach Craig. And that will show you all my videos. And there's a section called Healthy Huddles. And that will show you, you can look at all the previous chapters in there. And I've also started a podcast. And if you go to iTunes or whatever podcast viewer you use, and then search for Team Blanchette, you'll find the weekly podcast. That's an audio-only version that works great for some people. But so tonight we're going to have a little discussion about chapter 4. I don't have anybody specifically assigned to review this chapter with me, but we want to talk a little bit about fundamental choices and primary choices, and then we'll go into the secondary choices. So one of the things that stood out to me is that fundamental choice, and the idea that a fundamental choice is it's what defines our state of being. It's what we stand for. Our choice is to be free and healthy. That's what we're willing to fight for. And so that fundamental choice is sort of like quality relationship with your wife if you're married. That would be a fundamental goal, right? And so fundamental goals are something that's hard to quantify. It's not like you never really arrive there, but it's an idea of something that you value highly, that you're working towards. And that's different from a primary choice. Primary choice or goal is a very specific thing, and that primary goal will complement or feed into the fundamental goal. So in the example of marriage, a quality marriage, one of your primary goals might be healthy communication, to be able to communicate, or maybe it's to go on a date, have a date night with your wife, or maybe vacation or a trip away once a quarter, things like that. And so anybody have any comments about some of the things that stood out in the first few chapters of the Habits of Health here? Go ahead and unmute yourself and share what you have highlighted. You get something, Parrish?
One thing, I went over this a while ago, not recently, but I had 3 stars next to, it's important to accept the fact that no one can do it for you. And that was something even, just when I was married before, my sister who's married, it's hard. We'll blame our spouse sometimes. Well, they're not as active, or they want to sit down and watch TV, and you can't just keep blaming other people. You finally, you just have to take responsibility and do it yourself and get up and do it. And so that was one that really stood out to me.
Yeah, that's great. It says Others can help you with their advice, good wishes, guidance, and experience, maybe medical insight and understanding of human patterns and motivations, but it will always come down to you. And I agree. That's it. Well, and you know what? We're the one that gets the first one that gets the benefit of the hard work. I tell my clients a lot of times when they fought for something during a week and they like nailed it, and it's like a couple of pounds they're down, and they just accomplished like, and I says, how does that feel? And they tell me how it feels, and I say, savor it, because you earned it.
Yeah.
You earn those feelings, you earn those pounds, you earn those progressions in your health by making those choices of saying no to the now so I can say yes to the tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Great stuff. Yeah, go ahead, Don. I'll unmute you. You're
okay. One of the things that in the little sidebar thing right on the first page of chapter 4, it says, is anything in life more important than health? When people realize that they're dangerously ill, the answer to that question becomes clear.
Yes, it does.
And boy, does that, hit home. And it gets away from you, it took me a long time to become overweight, probably 30 years. I'm 64 years old now. And it sneaks up on you. You go to the doctor and they say, well, you're having a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you don't think too much of it. But pretty soon, okay, now we want you to go on a little bit of insulin because your little bit of this and that is getting a little bit worse. So then when I got on program, and I was able to get off the insulin within just a couple of days of getting on the Take Shape for Life program, that was so huge for me. And I was able to stop taking those doggone shots and get off the medication and go to my doctor and make her dance around her office because things were going so well. This has been a major life change.
Yeah.
And it's only getting better.
Yeah, that's so powerful. When you talk about what is your program, it's the program that makes doctors dance.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's a good one. Yeah. Thanks, Don. Any other things? Maybe more of the primary choices for optimal health, page 29 and 30. Actually, we'll talk about the foundations of health. He has, there's these foundational principles of health. And if we learn what those are and learn to incorporate those into our life, things will change. And they include healthy eating, including nutrient support. So it's the proper amount of vitamins and minerals in combination with the right carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. So it's a combination of the two that really is that sweet spot. Healthy weight and a normal waist size, because you could be possibly at a healthy weight, but have your waist size be out of balance. And that waist size is what's really important, because that's where your body's internal organs are. They call them vital organs. And so if you carry your weight around your abdominal cavity, that's the most dangerous place to carry it, because that fat in there affects our internal organs. It kind of corrodes them, if you will. So we want to get that weight off around our belly. An active lifestyle, including daily activity program, a walking program, strength conditioning, flexibility, and agility. You can lose weight without exercise, but you're not going to be optimally healthy. And even people that are overweight, if they have some walking in their life, that is far better than them being sedentary and overweight. So you got to move that body. A lot of times we're just not taught. We think that when we do PE in school, before they had PE, they had something called recess. Guess what? It was the same thing, right? It's a way to get your body moving. And then as we get older, we stop having recess. We need to bring back recess, right? That's my new motto. Bring back recess for adults. Recuperative sleep. So it's sleep that's quality, where you wake up rested and alert. I've got an app called Sleep Cycle. And I don't know if I've showed this to you guys. I don't think I have, but let me, I want to show you this app that I've been using, and I really, really like it. Let me get it up here on my screen. We're going to go super high tech today. So this app, it basically, here's what it looks like when you set it. So if you have an alarm, you set the alarm for whenever you want to set it. And then I click start, and it asks me a few questions. Did I drink coffee? Did I drink tea? Did I eat late? Did I work out that day? Or did I have a stressful day? And so I click on whatever I do, and then I click OK. And then it tells you to turn it over. And you see how the thing moves when I make noise? That's because it listens to me when I'm sleeping, and it sits next to my bed, and it will, when I turn over, it notices that I'm moving, and so I'm not in deep sleep when I'm moving. And here's what it looks like. Like, this is last night's sleep. Let's go 2 nights ago. That was a much better night. And so I've decided to go to bed around 8:30 and wake up at 4:30 in the morning. And I got 8 hours of sleep, and my sleep was 91%. When I woke up in the morning, my heart rate was 61. And let's go to the day before that, 56. This was when I was back in Minnesota, 92%. And super low heart rate when I wake up in the morning. And so anyway, it'll start getting an average. You can see as I was back at camp, I was getting less sleep, 6 hours, not very good sleep because I was up late and up early. But you can start developing a pattern with this, and you just turn it on at your alarm clock. One of the neat things is that when those dips go way down, that's when you're in deep sleep where you're not moving at all. And then when you go up to sleep or awake, it's when you're moving. And so it will actually when you set your alarm, it wants to wake you up when when that is on the rise. And that way you don't wake up groggy like in the middle of a dream. Anyway, so there's some science to that there, but you might look at that. It's called Sleep Cycle, and it can track your sleep over time. It's kind of like, it's a gadgety thing that has you focus on sleep, and when you focus on it, you usually get better sleep. And so so that's recuperative sleep. Then we have relaxation. It's important to unwind and do things that are not work related, that you have distractions. Right now I listen to audiobooks, and I also go for bike rides. And I've tried to listen to audiobooks that aren't anything to do with self-help or learning about, technology or anything to do with work. So I'm reading a book with Steve Jobs right now. I'm listening to it. And then I just finished one called Boys in the Boat. It was about the 1936 Olympic team from Seattle. So they're about real people's lives, but it's just enjoyable to listen to and have my brain spend some time thinking about other things than, politics or work or whatever it might be. A micro environment of health. So micro is small environment. So it's the environment around you. So your kitchen pantry, where you sleep, where you live, those different types of things, the community, the friends you have, your neighborhood, those are micro environments of health. And so that's a foundation. If you never want to eat ice cream and donuts, then don't have them in your micro environment of health. Don't bring them home if you don't plan on eating them, right? And don't bring them home because the kids are going to be there for the weekend and they'll like it. Well, of course they're going to like it. It's sugar. But if you think about it, it's slow-acting poison. What it is. It's slow-acting poison. And over time, that will poison them. So one of my clients says, if I have desserts, I never eat them in my house. I always eat when I go out, and they don't eat out very often. And so that was kind of a way of keeping it a little bit safe. Well-being, including social activities, limited stress, a sense of purpose and meaning, spiritual health, and personal fulfillment. And the last one is a support system. And believe it or not, this is one of your support systems just by tuning into this. So great stuff. So those are some things you're probably not going to fix or change or calibrate all those overnight. But now you have an idea of what those are, and then you can work towards it. And that's where we're going to talk about structural tension. So you identify one of those you want to work on, then you contrast that to where you're at, and then you set up those secondary steps that will take you there. And here's the little chart there on page 31, where a 3-month goal of creating a structural tension chart. So this one was on to get to a healthy weight of 167 pounds. They're currently at 209. And so what was the things they needed to do to get from here to there? Well, the 5 and 1, current reality after 30 days of weight loss, they lost 16 pounds. So their current reality changes as you start to move from where you are to where you want to be. And so you can have different structural tension charts over time, depending on what it is you're looking at. I think that I'm going to close with the quote on 34, and then we're going to play our game. It says, from Mark Twain, "The only way to keep your health is to eat what you don't want, drink what you don't like, and do what you'd rather not." I thought that was kind of interesting.
That's funny.
And I think you'll end up learning to like new things that you didn't like initially. You'll learn to drink things that you maybe didn't like to drink. Maybe you don't like water, but you learn to like it. And you learn to do things that initially you didn't like to do. So I think those can change over time. But in the beginning, that's what you need to do. So, all right. So everybody that has a smartphone, pull out your smartphone or an iPad or something of that nature. And let me share my screen here. And what you're going to do is you're going to go to Kahoot.it. So Kahoot it. And once you get there, you're going to type in the game pin is 764833. And then it'll ask you for your name. So go ahead and you can actually open up a new web browser as well and type in Kahoot.it and play this in a web browser on your computer. Dean is there. Pear is there, which is Parish. Parish.
Oh, I should have studied the chapter more.
Dawn's in. You gonna play with this, Diane? You don't have a phone?
I do, but it's in another room.
It's in the other room? Okay. All right. Well, next week we'll have a game you can play too. Dean's here. Dean, did you just get back from a bike ride? I'm jealous. All right. So it looks like we just have 3 playing tonight.
One more.
One more? Okay.
You can hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. This is Marquise.
Hi, Marquis. If you got a phone, you can play too.
He's going to play.
Oh, he's just going to play with you. Okay.
Oh, he's got his own phone. He's gonna play.
Oh, good. Okay. So you're dialing him in. Okay.
Okay.
There we go. All right. So here we go. So when I click start, the question will come up. And then after a few seconds, you'll have your choices. You'll see the 2 to 4 different choices on the screen, and those will show up on your phone. So here we go. Chapter 4 is all about choice. First question, a fundamental choice is a choice that is fun and mental, one that defines our state of being, a basic next step choice, or none of the above. This is a fundamental choice. Yep. So it's one that defines our state of being. Yep. And the basic next step choice is actually called a secondary choice. And we'll cover that though. Did you like the first one? A choice that is fun and mental? Fundamental. Come on. I thought that was clever. Thanks. All right. Our daily choices over time make us into who we are. True or false? Our daily choices over time make us into who we are. Yep, and that is true.
I was the one.
Marky, we tricked you on that one, didn't we?
Yeah.
My current reality is where I want to be. My current reality is where I want to be. True or false? False. Yeah, your current reality is usually where you are, and it's usually different from where you want to be. I guess technically your current reality, if you're healthy, could be where you want to be, but you guys got that right. Some foundations of health are maintaining a healthy weight, relaxation and sleep, a support system, or all of the above. Yep, all of the above. Correct. Good job, everybody. Choosing to put your walking shoes on is a secondary choice. True or false? True. Exactly. So secondary choices, you have your primary choice, and then you have your current reality, and then you have your secondary choices that you add into there that over time take you from where you are to where you want to be. And so that might be getting to a healthy weight, or that might be building up to like a 5K. And so putting your walking shoes on would be what you would do in the process of going walking, which would be one of those secondary choices that achieves your primary goal. An example of a fundamental choice is what do I want to eat? How much sleep should I get? Where's the bathroom? Or do I want to be optimally healthy? So which one of those is a fundamental choice? Yes. Do I want to be optimally healthy? Exact. Those other ones were more primary choices. What do I want to eat? That might be secondary. Where's the bathroom? That's just, who knows what that is. That's just a simple choice. How much sleep should I get? That might be a secondary choice. But the fundamental is those big picture choices. Structural tension refers to how buildings are made, where I'm at, where I want to be, and the steps to get there. Something you take aspirin for, or none of the above. Yep, it's where I'm at, where I want to be, and the steps to get there. We all use structural tension all the time. A simple example of structural tension is you have a party that's coming up in 30 days, right? So that's your desired outcome. That's your primary goal, is to have a happy party. Your current reality is you got 30 days and maybe nothing's done. And so your secondary steps need to be ordered in order to have that party happen. If you've ever done a successful birthday party, you've used structural tension. Maybe you've made some lists along the way. Well, that's really easy when the goal is so clear. But when it comes to health things, when the journey takes a lot longer and you have a lot of distractions, structural tension can really help you with those secondary goals where you think out and ahead of time, and then all you do is follow your recipe and you'll get there. Pear's killing it. Good job. Instant gratification wars against our secondary choices. Instant gratification is against our secondary choices. True or false? It is true. Correct. So that instant gratification is, I don't want to go for a walk. And my secondary choice was to go for a walk, which builds me to my primary choices, which plugs into my fundamental choices. So fundamental choice is the big umbrella, and then your primary choice is that next one under it, and then the secondary choices are so it's all reverse engineering. You start with the big picture and you get smaller and smaller and smaller. A primary choice is decisions I make in 1st through 5th grade, a goal that will build into my fundamental choice, a difference between a dog and a monkey, or none of the above. Yeah. So it's a goal that will build into my fundamental choice. So you have secondary choices, primary choices, and fundamental, which is the biggest picture. All right, Dean slipped in there. Nice drafting. Secondary choices are seemingly insignificant, mundane activities, the first steps I need to take to accomplish my primary goal, or all of the above.
That might have been green.
Yes, they're seemingly insignificant. They're mundane. They're things like putting your shoes on. They're, simple, basic things, getting to bed at a reasonable hour. They're steps that I need to take to accomplish my primary goal. So they build into that primary goal. And so that's it. All right. So we have our winner tonight, Dean, with 9 correct, 1 incorrect. Way to go, champ.
That was a trick question on 10.
That was. We all need mulligans for that one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So because that was...
I got to share just real quick.
Yeah.
So I'm climbing the hill today. It's a thing I do, a particular road I do. And coming around a corner is this old man with a cane. And as I came down, I almost ran into him, so I had to stop, and the car is coming by him. Coming down, I stopped and talked to him. 92 years old. He goes all the way to the top of the hill every day, up to the gravel where I ride my bike. I thought I was awesome. This guy's like 92 years old, and he walks all the way up. It's 2 miles up to this gravel, right? It was great. It was really neat. Got a chance to chat with him. He's a World War II vet, and got a picture of him. It was pretty cool.
Wow.
So, that's optimal health, man.
Yeah.
The reality.
Well, there's 2 sides there. Optimal health is that you were out on doing something that you came across this guy, that you then had the experience of being able to share a little bit of your lives together, and then he inspired you with his life. I mean, there was a whole lot going on there, and it all happened because you decided to get healthy and you were out on your bike today.
Yeah, and I almost didn't go, just FYI. So
yeah, you did. Every time I almost do something, almost not do something, that's okay, because I still did it. I only almost didn't do it. Yeah, I can't wait to ride with you. So we covered a ton of topics there. So fundamental is that sort of umbrella, big picture, and then you have your primary, within that big picture goal, you're going to have lots of primary goals. One might be to lose weight. One might be to get good sleep, 8 hours of sleep. One might be to drink water. One might mean to strengthen your communication skills, not take things so personally, right? So those are all like primary goals that are tangible. When you've done it. And then you stretch that primary goal back to your current reality, so you have tension between where you are or what you have and where you want to be or what you want to have. So there's that tension in there. And then you add the structure, which is the small little secondary choices. For example, I want to I want to run a marathon. Maybe that's a fundamental or a primary goal. Fundamental goal is to be more physically fit. So my primary goal is to run a marathon. My current reality is I've never run a marathon. So then I'm going to have to probably buy a pair of tennis shoes. I'm going to have to start a training program. I'm going to have to get better sleep. And some of these little secondary choices might be so detailed that you might need a separate structural tension chart just to deal with that. But so all those little things, as you start doing those small secondary choices, they'll get you closer and closer and closer to your primary goal. And if you accomplish your primary goals regularly, those should all fill and funnel into that fundamental goal. So it's good to have these written down, especially like a 2-year goal. You know, you should have that kind of written down, and then break that down into some smaller baby step goals to build you up to that. Any questions about the structural tension or the 3 different types of goals or choices?
No, but that was a good chapter.
Yeah.
I actually read this. I read the first 9 chapters of the book again. I started at the front of the book on the 2 11-hour flights to and from Hawaii. So,
Good job.
pretty fresh in the head there.
Good job, Don. You that's inspirational, really. It's really inspiring to see that you took it on vacation and you read on the plane ride over and back. I mean,
it was a good place where I could concentrate on what I was soaking up, you know.
Talk about a good thing to concentrate on, too. I mean, this book is not a boring read. It's a pretty great read.
Very interesting stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Awesome, guys. Well, excellent job, everybody. Next week will be chapter 3. And if you guys want to help out, Facebook message me that you'd like to help out. I'd love for someone else to join in and come up with some questions. We usually do 10 questions. And so if you guys want to help me with those, let me know in the next 48 hours, and I'll help you work that out. So you guys have been a great group tonight, and I love learning alongside you guys. It's been awesome. So we'll see you next week.